now we've been talking about the near planets. Now we're going to talk about far planets. Our last unit was on the sun and the moon and the surrounding Earth. Now we're going to talk about the planets that are kind of farther away, looking specifically at things further away from Earth. So that's why, the questions in today's bell work were looking at planets further away, and that's what we're going to start looking at. So specifically, the other planets besides Earth. So Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. So those are the ones we're going to be focusing on. So we talked about the moon, we talked about the sun in our previous unit, and now this unit we're talking about the other planets in general. So starting with Mercury, and that's what we're going to learn about today. Mercury is the 8th biggest planet, so really not very big.
Oh, sure.
Pretty small. And Mercury is the closest to the sun, and basically we're going to work our way backwards to the farthest from the sun, because that's really what makes the most sense. So if we are comparing to a football field and kind of scaling it down and making all the planets fit on a football field, if the sun was 2/3 the size of a golf ball and placed on the goal line, and then we are kind of scaling everything to kind of give us a visual, Mercury would be kind of right there. So it would be about the size of the tip of a ballpoint pen in comparison. Oh my goodness, you guys. So it'd be very tiny in comparison to the sun, and it would be very, very close. And it would be very close on the football field spectrum. So we're going to see our furthest planet out here, and so we have Mercury very, very close. Now, we're getting to the point where we're almost done with the semester, which is, kind of exciting. Your final will be another presentation. And your presentation, which you can kind of start thinking about, which, you'll have time to work on it, is whether there is life on other planets. And you'll have to defend that using information based on what you have learned with the planets so far. So we've been studying planets and what is necessary for life, and we'll continue with that, learning about the other planets. So with Mercury is so close to the sun, it probably can't sustain life. It's just too hot. Now, looking at these two side by side, which one do you think is Mercury and which one do you think is the moon?
The moon's the right.
A or B?
Mercury is A.
Mercury is A and B would be the moon. So you're right. Mercury is A and the moon is B, but it's really kind of hard to tell. We probably can tell because we do look at the moon quite often, so we kind of have a good idea of what the moon looks like. But they're very, very similar in appearance and size and shape, and they look very similar.
This area's good. I come to charge our use.
I'm already letting somebody use it. Matt?
You want to see it?
Somebody's using my Chromebook.
Anybody got a Chromebook charger I can use?
So Mercury looks like the moon. It has many craters and smooth plains. It is very similar where it's got a lot of impact areas, and then it's got areas that are smooth, very similar to what we would see the surface of the moon look like.
Oh, I get it. One day.
Brad.
I already got him signed up. I'm chilling off this week. I work at 9 to 5 on Sunday.
That's tough.
Jacob, did you have your interview?
Oh, yes.
How did it go?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to ask for a couple hours off.
Good, hopefully.
Your MRT is at 6.
When will she let you
So I'll
know?
need time to get
By the end of the month.
That's a long time. It is a very
Well,
long
there's a lot of other people that she needs to interview.
time. I guess the end of the month isn't too long. That's
already gone.
So I got to see some crawdaddies.
Oh, she showed you?
Yeah, I got to see an albino one.
That's cool.
I got to see one that was this big. This big.
How many? Was it this many? This many? This many? This many? This many? I'm this many years old, but was it this many? Or was it this many?
Walked up to him and I looked at him.
This many.
All right, so Mercury has an exosphere, which is a thin region of hydrogen, helium, and oxygen molecules that don't behave like gases. So, it's not really an atmosphere like Earth. It's a little bit different. It's not as contained like you would expect Earth's atmosphere to be. So, it's not really an atmosphere kind of at all. That's why it's called an exosphere. So yeah, it's got some gases, but it doesn't really trap anything like our atmosphere does.
So creepy.
So dirty it was.
They spelled the gases wrong.
Ruined the video.
I did?
S-S-E-S.
I'm sorry.
Okay, we've been doing these for the entire school year, so.
Why does Mercury have one massive crater in the middle of it?
Because it is him.
Anything?
I hate.
What?
Why does it have one massive crater in the middle of it?
Maybe it's just showing the same picture over and over.
Miss Ayers, words aren't real.
Because of
Words aren't real.
Yeah, like I just really hate to get political here, but what is a bird?
Earth is a
Maybe.
bird? Did you just say Earth is a bird?
What is a bird?
What is a bird?
So the day
What is a
temperature can
bird?
reach up to 800 Fahrenheit, and night temperatures reach 280 Fahrenheit. So it's pretty hot if at nighttime. The coolest is 280 Fahrenheit. At the poles, it's 136 at the poles. So it really never rises above 136 degrees Fahrenheit. I think that's a negative 136 at the poles. So the poles stay kind of cold, and the temperatures at the rest of it stay pretty high.
You seen this dude? All of his videos are kind of the same. All these are the same.
Mrs. Ayers, Celsius is like wrong.
Celsius is the one most of the
All
world
of his
uses.
videos.
We're
Yeah.
the weird ones for using Fahrenheit.
Nah, we're the correct ones because Fahrenheit.
I want the imperial system.
We're the weird ones for using Fahrenheit.
What's up, Toby?
Yeah, you
Hi,
know.
buddy.
Listen. Nah, bro, that's- Isn't it just like about
Toby, you are so good.
So basically, Mercury is super hot because it's so close to the sun. Mercury's poles are super cold because the sun never shines on them, and there's no atmosphere to hold the heat. With us, we have heat, or we have an atmosphere to hold that temperature in, but Mercury doesn't have any atmosphere, which again is why Venus is so hot, because Venus does have an atmosphere.
And Caleb?
Okay.
What is it like? Mink? And like,
Dude.
no. Why do you lie? I watched that.
Imagine the cortex.
What?
Like the necklace coming off of it?
Oh, that would hurt, wouldn't it?
Can considering you can fit 2 full raccoons in there.
Whoa, what? One man, one jar.
Jacob, you probably could fit 3 racks.
Recreate it.
One man, one jar, Max. One man, one jar.
Take it.
10 dudes want Pepsi.
Pepsi.
Max. I'm not talking
Get it,
about
Max.
actual things.
You know, you've never seen the meme? It's 10 dudes. So,
Oh yeah.
and then the
Okay.
dude walks into the warehouse and it's 10 dudes standing around a Pepsi. And then the Pepsi goes.
So Mercury is all alone with no moons to keep it company.
You never see that?
Earth has 1 moon, Mars has 2, Jupiter has 79, Saturn wins though, Saturn has 82, Neptune has 14, but Mercury and Venus have no moons.
Why is it that they have no moons?
Venus sounds
I don't
like-
know.
It might be like too hot.
It could be. Because Mercury and Venus, they're both pretty hot, and so maybe that is it. They just have, it's too hot for them to have
Or,
moons.
listen, their moons can't stay by them enough because they're so close to the sun.
That could be too.
I would assume it doesn't have enough.
So when the moon goes around.
Yeah, and maybe
Oh.
the sun
Let me see it.
pulls
So
their
when the
moons
sun
away
revolves around the earth,
because the sun
what
has no
really
gravity.
happens?
So that's possible too.
Yeah, we're the center of it.
And because Jupiter and Saturn are so big, they can pull more moons toward them.
There's one of the people in the store. You just walk and it falls out.
Yeah, just hold it.
I mean, considering Mercury is only as the size of our moon,
Subway, he used his,
it can't have a very big gravitational pull.
Yeah, this dude like took off his shirt.
I'm just saying, how what would happen if we had 82 moons?
It'd have to be pretty small.
Like, how bright would it be outside? If we just had like 40 moons or 27 moons. Just,
I mean, the moons only reflect the sun. The light from the sun. I don't know.
Oh.
well, if there's more moons to reflect it, wouldn't it be brighter outside?
It would be brighter. But that's like mirrors reflecting it back.
Dead,
So Mercury is always so close to the sun, it can only be seen when the sun is low on the horizon. Otherwise, the sun kind of blocks it. It's visible soon before sunrise in the southern hemisphere and after the sunset in the northern hemisphere. So we can see it, but only at like sunrise and sunset. So it's visible, but only at certain times. Without assistance from a telescope. You're just like going outside to view stars.
Of course.
It's all what?
Yeah, single mode. I'm on minutes time, bro. I'm on demon time, baby.
And don't y'all just miss the professor thugonomics?
I don't know how much it was, but he was freaking, bro.
Thugonomics.
He did it 2 days in a row, too.
Thugonomics.
What is it?
Thugonomics. John Cena.
He put it like on the skinny John sandwich, so it was like this.
Hey, do you know who John Cena is?
Probably. I'm not good with names.
Well, he's a wrestler, right? That does a lot of work for them at Make-A-Wish, at Foundation. He has done over 6,000 things for them. That's a lot.
You're really not.
It's a good foundation.
That is it. That is name in wrestling was once the professor of thugonomics.
Oh my god.
Okay, so Mercury revolves very quickly. Remember, revolves means go around, and so that's a year, and rotation is a day. So it has, it takes 87 Earth days to orbit the sun. So 1 year is 87 days.
Huh?
1 year on Mercury is 87 days, or about 89, or 88 really. But it rotates very slowly, so each day on Mercury lasts about 58 days. So 1 day is 58 days, but 1 year is 87 days. So that's kind of interesting. 1 year is 87 days.
Everyone aren't saying.
1 day is 58 days.
But it's because they microphone it.
I guess my phone signed out.
Oh, I think you laid on it whenever you were a weak Minecraft player, or you
I'm the type that likes to stay mine.
the racist.
You're nutty, bro.
I like to mine. Mine is stuff.
Kinetic sand. Hold it. Kinetic sand.
Another thing to point out is scientists have figured out something called the habitable zone. And this is the zone, this green kind of area here, that they think within this area life can exist. So Earth is within this area. Mercury is not within this area. So if there is a planet within this habitable zone, they think that life can exist within this. So Mars is within the habitable zone. That's why they're so interested in Mars, because Mars falls within this area that life can exist within this area. Venus is kind of just outside that edge, but because of Venus' extensive atmosphere that makes it so hot, they don't think that Venus could have life. But Mars is not within that habitable zone. But Mars is. So again, the habitable zone is a region around a star in which a planet can have liquid water and support life. So it all comes back to water. If there is water, there is life. All things require water to live, and so they're thinking that it's possible that Mars could have had water, and Earth, of course, has water. That's why we're the blue planet. And Venus, they just think it's a little too hot. Well, it is. It's the hottest planet. So if they can find water on Mars, then there's a good chance that Mars at some point had life.
Nope. 1 minute time, bro.
Big blue.
But the key here is all life as we know it needs water to live. If they can find life that does not need water, then that opens up a whole new area of organisms. Find an alien that doesn't need water, and then we can have something else.
What if like these other organisms don't need water? What if they're built different?
Then that's a whole other story.
Exactly.
Built different. Built different.
He was going fast.
Okay.
Oh shit, these boys are done.
How's this feel?
Oh my. Oh. No way. No way you wouldn't do that to you,
That's
bro.
an old man, man. That's a...
Oh, yeah. It was an old man and his
Nah,
grandson.
bro, I'm slumping that little dude. No, I don't care how old I am, bro. I'm slumping.
Oh!
That was crazy, bro. Watch that again.
Oh.
So Mercury is not within the habitable zone for liquid water, and life probably never existed. Its temperature ranges from negative 280 to 800 degrees Fahrenheit. It has no atmosphere, and it has been bombarded by too many asteroids. So for those reasons, scientists argue that there has not been able to have any life on Mercury.
Look, she ain't finna win that thing.
At least in our solar system.
She won. He's crazy. You guys know, I'm pretty sure at Sonic 420 is half off my roller sticks. They're crazy for doing that. Yeah. Come on, Tyler.
Hey, April
Mozzarella Day, bro. Come on.
20th, bro.
What day?
18.
Yeah, this is 18. It's
The
Thursday.
new Minecraft game came out today. Oh my gosh, I
Dude,
got
you get
it.
us free with Game Pass.
I know, I already have it.
The new one.
I'm more excited about the new Zelda game that's
No
coming
one's
out today.
paying
Nobody cares about Zelda.
I wasn't a big fan.
Zelda, I love it.
Breath of the
Oh
Wild.
my god.
I would
The
100%
second
completed that game.
Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild's been out.
Well, but this is like the second one.
Yeah, Miss Ayers. I 100% completed Breath of the Wild. I got all 986 crops.
My brother tried to get all of them.
Then I
don't know
did
if we
every
got 'em.
shrine and all that. Filled out the picture thingy too. I'm just saying I did not have a life for
Did you catch all the horses?
Nah,
Horses.
bro.
Yes, actually, I got the giant one. I got the
I got the
royal
giant one. I got the royal
I
one.
got the blue one. You know the blue one, like the mystic one.
Oh yeah, I got that one.
Yeah, I got him, but you don't get to keep him. But it's
No.
fun. But it's fun to bring him to a stable. And I'm like, all right, so you want to?
Not for every person.
I did enjoy Breath of the Wild.
All
Alright, so Mercury has a lot of names based after it. All of these come from the Mercury element. Mercury Montclair, Mercury Dine. There's a lot of things named after the planet Mercury. So Mercury, there's just a lot of words or names from the planet Mercury. You don't have to write that down. But there's a lot of things named after Mercury. Okay, so that's all we're going to talk about today. You're going to have a new assignment.
No.
I've not posted it yet. No.